last month alone, I made just about $900 being an amateur photographer. In a matter of 3 weeks, I have already classified myself as a professional photographer. Now, the crazy part is, I don't think none of that would have happened if God hadn't first asked me to let go of the one thing that I love the most, which was being an artist, specifically a visual artist. So this video really isn't about photography. It isn't going to be about how I necessarily made that amount of money. It's going to be about obedience. And if you're new to this channel, welcome. I go by VeeArtise, and this video is literally going to be vulnerable and a little personal, and hopefully it will help somebody who is struggling in the same predicament that I was. So if you've followed my art for a while, you know painting has always been a part of my life. I didn't get into art because I necessarily wanted to get rich, but I knew that it was a possibility that I can make a substantial amount of money just based off of what I've seen from other artists. The people that I was following online, they were garnering a lot of success, and I got into the digital format because I thought I too could kind of emulate that same type of success for my business. And I genuinely loved creating. I mean, who doesn't as an artist? When it comes down to creating work and being self-expressive with your artwork, it is going to literally, and also if you make money doing it, it's going to change the whole circumstances of your life. I love being able to tell stories. I love being able to express myself. And somewhere along the way, my passion slowly started to become my pressure. Can you relate to that? Like literally the thing that you love the most is weighing so heavily on your shoulders that you just don't even know like how to manage the two anymore. And when I opened up my shop, I was making sales. You know, it was working. It's not that I was failing at the thing that I loved the most, but I wasn't really succeeding in the product launches. Like I would get a couple orders here and there. I would sell some prints. I didn't really necessarily focus on selling my artwork in person, and I think that contributed to a lot of the decline in my success. Long story short, I did put on a solo art exhibition, and I was growing in social media. Like I started on TikTok. I grew that audience. Like at this point, I was at like 90,000 followers there. I started to transition to Instagram and I grew that audience, and currently I'm at 40,000, and all of the things were working. I was getting the views, the attention, and the problem really was that I was constantly checking the numbers, and what I realized was what I was creating, I just didn't feel inspired to create anymore. A lot of it was just based off of references I would get online. Like I didn't really have any personal attachment to the artwork. I was just trying to create with the idea of making a sale. And that really started the spiral to my demise of shutting down my shop. And like I said, I wasn't failing in the thing that I was doing. I just wasn't getting the success that I had thought I initially would get. And I started becoming very exhausted. I was so exhausted. I was overwhelmed. And every painting started to feel like another product, and every post became just another opportunity to perform. And so I was so focused on making artwork that I slowly stopped asking God what He wanted me to create. And it actually started to kind of turn into a form of idolizing my gift. And so this is where I believe where your faith really starts to come in, because I really don't think artists realize that sometimes we can idolize the very gift that God gave us. The gift becomes our identity. The gift becomes our security. The gift becomes the thing that we're chasing instead of the one who gave it to us. And I realized I wasn't just pursuing art anymore. I was clinging to it. And God has a way of asking us to release the things we're so wrapped up in our identity around. And it's actually very challenging. It's very challenging when he actually proposes this to you. I mean, you see this done with Abraham and Isaac. You see this done with the rich young ruler who had his wealth and he wanted to follow Jesus and he was asked to kind of sacrifice that. You see this done with the disciples who had to leave their net and which was their financial security. But for me, my thing was art. My thing was art. And God told me to stop it completely. I remember it clear as day. And it wasn't because, you know, my artwork was bad. It wasn't because, like I said, I wasn't seeing the success. I really felt like the Lord wanted my heart first. And at the time, I didn't understand it. You know, I didn't understand why he was asking me to shut down my shop. And then I was so frustrated. I personally had felt like I had failed as an artist. And I was getting the momentum, but I felt like I was ruining everything I had worked so hard for. But I knew it was necessary for the route that he was going to eventually take me. And so from there, I didn't even realize that I would be going into a 2-year hiatus after that. And I completely shut down my shop. I had no launches. I completely stopped creating. There was so much uncertainty. And even at the time, he actually asked me or told me to like go work at a nonprofit organization. And it was an art nonprofit organization. I was working with children and I was a studio assistant. So I was still surrounded by the arts. I just personally wasn't really creating any. And so I didn't realize like he was truly preparing me for like just the next season of my life. So during those 2 years, I became a mom. Like literally right after I shut down the shop, like a couple months later, I found out that I was pregnant. And so like I personally feel like it was so intentional for him because he knew like the amount of pressure I was putting on myself was astronomical. It was going to crush me. And on top of motherhood and all of the dynamical changes that happen with your body and your mind, like I physically could not keep up with being an artist and being a mother at the same time, at least in the foundational stage. And so I believe that motherhood completely changed my perspective because suddenly success started to look different. And legacy looked different and time looked different. I didn't have all the time in the world to create these pieces anymore and not be intentional about what I was doing with it. And my art stopped being about proving myself, you know, and it became about serving people. And this is really where photography comes in because as an artist, like I said, art is for yourself. If you really think about it, it's about self-expression. It's about liberating, you know, yourself as an individual and putting yourself out into the world. So it really is a focus of you, me. And so the shift from photography really transitioned so beautifully because I have been wanting a camera for 3 years, right? I've been wanting a camera for 3 years because I knew that it would help elevate and enhance myself as a creative, but I knew that there was so much more, but I didn't know necessarily what that looked like. And so if you haven't watched my last 2 videos on this, I talk about how I got the camera literally through community. If it wasn't for my community, I wouldn't have been able to get this camera. I talked about why it mattered having this camera. And to me personally, I love a side quest. Like I love being able to do something totally different, start something from the ground up, from scratch, although it's very difficult initially, and who really wants to start over? Sometimes it really is necessary for your development as a creator. And one thing I didn't realize is that getting this camera would change my life completely. It helped me start getting outside for one, because when I was creating as an artist, I was just so reclusive to myself. I was like, isolated in my studio, just creating, like not interacting, not socializing with people. But when I had this camera, right when I got the camera, the very next day, I went out into the community and I started meeting people. I started interacting with individuals, and I mean trailblazers in the community. It's so crazy, the people that I've been meeting. I started having conversations, and I'm in different neighborhoods. I mean, I'm going everywhere that I typically wouldn't have been. Like, I had just realized how many festivals there are in Colorado, because like in the past I never attended any festival, but now like you'll see me at almost every festival with my camera, walking up to people and asking if they would want a personalized session right there on the spot. And I just think it's so beautiful, because painting was so isolating, but like photography has been so liberating in the aspect of connecting with individuals, which I think is essential for artists. I really, really do. And photography has completely flipped that entirely, and it has enabled me to hear compelling stories from individuals, to connect with one another, to celebrate milestones. I mean, I'm meeting with people that literally needed this interaction in that very moment. And most importantly, I started creating with people. And what I love most about connection is, like, most people only know about Bezalel, and I always say his name wrong, but Bezalel is in Exodus, and he was in charge of creating the tabernacle, right? And God filled him with wisdom, with understanding, with craftsmanship, and the ability to also teach others. I think that's one part that people don't really realize, is that it wasn't reserved just for himself, all the wisdom, all the understanding, and the craftsmanship. He was in charge of going out into the community and teaching other people to do the same thing. Now, I think that part is often overlooked, and you could say that being an artist is just about making beautiful things, or just having the title of being an artist. But maybe, if you think about it, being an artist could mean serving the community, serving the people, teaching, building community, stewarding people's stories, because we have the capability to do so, and reflecting God's creativity back into the world. And I think the moment that I said, you know what, instead of being so selfish with who I am and reserving myself just to myself, how about I start to pour out those talents, just as I believe that the Lord has instructed artists to do. And I think that's when things have changed, honestly. That's when things have shifted in my life. And mind you, it's only been a month, and I've already made $900 just doing this. And so one thing I feel like artists are not receptive to is side quests. Like, I love me a side quest. Side quests are so necessary, because hear me out. You can decide to do a main quest, right? The main campaign. If you've ever played a game, you know in the game there's a main campaign. You can play the game from the very beginning to the very end, and then the game is over and that's it. But within technically almost every game, you have the ability to do a side quest. Now, what do you gain from side quests? You gain XP points, experience points, you gain skill sets that help you conquer different quests in the main campaign that you typically wouldn't have. You gain tools and the knowledge and the weapons, or like whatever you need. The side quests are going to help you in the main quest. And so for me, it's like, as an artist, we gotta be content with the idea that it's okay to do a side quest, because we've been sold that as an artist, you got to make money just one specific way, and that's not true. Like, you are probably thinking, to be an artist, I need to sell paintings. I need to get into galleries. I need to do festivals. I hope, that collectors find me and I sell artwork, the physical canvas. But like, God has made you multifaceted. Like, do you not realize that you are multifaceted? Like, you could do so many different things. And one thing that I realized that although, like, okay, yeah, I shut down my website and I did all of those things. I stopped selling my artwork. It took me 2 years later to realize how many skill sets I actually had encompassed from even going on the route of selling my artwork online. Now I know how to do a website. Now I know how to make compelling videos. Now I know how to market my artwork. Although I may not have been getting the sales that I necessarily wanted, but now I know how to show up for myself. Now I know how to take compelling photos and like be able to make prints out of that. Now I know how to like articulate myself a little bit more when it comes down to my artwork. Like, there's so much more that you have that you don't even realize, but because you're so fixated on being the fine artist and being structured in one way, you are neglecting the other ways that you have inherited as an artist, right? And you in particular, I know you have multiple interests. Like, think about what you still have a passion for. Because there's so many different things. And every single time I use this analogy, I think about a person who, okay, you know how to paint. That lets me know that you know how to do something else. So maybe you know how to bake. Maybe you know how to whip it up in the kitchen. Maybe you know how to pull out a camera and document people in a way that you can capture the essence of an individual. Maybe you know how to build a website from the ground up and you're really, really good at it. Maybe you know how to, you name it. You know what you're good at. You're not good at just one thing. You don't have just multiple interests, right? You have multiple ways that you can serve. And sometimes in the season, you have to realize, okay, if selling art, and I'm speaking to the people who are trying to sell their artwork and it's just not working for them. That's who I'm talking to. That's who I'm speaking to. You got to be able to pivot. You got to be able to accept a side quest and run with it. That's what you got to be able to do. You got to realize that side quests isn't always a distraction. Although it may feel like a distraction. You may have so many different things that you want to do and you feel like it's a distraction. No, maybe if the idea is there, I have a video that talks about how ideas come from the Lord, ideas come from Him, and if He gave it to you, then you can execute. If He gave it to you, you can execute on the idea. And because it comes from the living Word of God, that lets me know that the idea still is alive and it still wants to be utilized. And so it's up to you to be like, let me utilize that. Because sometimes the very thing that God uses to prepare you for is the actual assignment itself. It's the actual assignment for in the season. So I know you clicked on this video because you want to know exactly how I made $900 as an amateur artist or photographer with no experience whatsoever. And I'm going to tell you. This is the part where you came in and all of the other stuff probably didn't really matter to you, but I really wanted you to conceptualize the idea that side quests are necessary for your development. They are essential. When I'm doing this, one thing I realized too is that I don't have the obsessive attachment that I do with my artwork with photography because it's not for me. You know what I mean? Like, and we be having that obsessive, attachment to our artwork, and we be so critical about the artwork that it's like, you don't even realize like the thing that you're creating is not even for you. You're selling it for somebody else. So like, if we can get to that point where we have a detachment from the artwork and we're able to just put it out into the world for that person to receive it, then I think we could really understand the purpose of being an artist is to give back to the world. But going back to what I was saying, goodness, I got a little passionate about that. How I made the $900. Let's talk about it. Last month, right? I decided, how can I build up my portfolio wait, hold on. How can I build up my portfolio with making money at the same time? And I was like, okay, well, I started a new Instagram. I started a whole new Instagram. It had 0 followers. Now, mind you, you could say, well, on your other platforms, you said that you have X, Y, and Z amount of followers. And I can tell you that if you know anything about having a page, it is very difficult to bring those individuals into something else that you have created, unless you were on YouTube and people have devoted themselves to you and you build a loyal community. Very rarely you're going to get people transition from one platform to the next platform, and very utterly rarely you're going to get people who find multiple interests in what you do and they're going to go follow you. So I'm going to straight up tell you that none of the followers that I have gained came from my current platform, because what I was doing on there is all about art. My new platform was about photography. So although, yes, I have promoted it somewhat, none of the followers came from my initial platform. So I started to go to events. I started to meet people where they were at. I would walk up to individuals, and not every individual, because you're not going to get to everybody, but I will walk up to an individual and I'll say, like, now I wouldn't even just start off saying like, hey, do you want a session? First of all, I'm a conversationalist, so like there was something that obviously captured my attention, and one thing I am not opposed to is giving out a compliment. I will give them out like confetti, like with like free, like it's free, like it takes nothing to give a person a compliment, and that's what I am about. But you'd be so surprised of how many people reserve a compliment to themselves. Like, you see somebody who's popping, you see it, why not like acknowledge it? Why not say, hey, I like your fly fit, you look good? And then I'll just start talking. I'll ask them where they from. We're having a whole conversation before I even propose the idea of having a session right on the spot. Okay? That's the process. That is the process. But anyways, so once I get the whole conversation out, and then that's when I say, well, hi, you know, I'm VeeArtise. I'm a professional, because I said initially the first week I was an amateur. That second week, we became a professional, period. We became a professional. I accepted the title and I received the title because the photos, go follow my Instagram. See, we'll see how many followers I get just from that statement. But go follow my Instagram at the CLP archive and you'll see that your girl always had that eye. I always had the eye. But anyways, so I will go up to an individual and I'll say, hey, you know, I do the whole spiel, the whole conversation. And then once we get to the point, I'm like, hey, would you be interested in doing a session? So initially, I started at $25 a session. Now that may be low to a lot of people. It is very low. And I was bogus with the exportation. Like the amount of photos I was giving it out, girl, what are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you trying to give out so many photos? I wasn't putting 2 to 2 together. I was like, I didn't have no structure. I just went on the limb. I didn't even prepare how this would be. I didn't have no website. I didn't have nothing but my Instagram and this camera. And also, I had a Google form. So I would get people to consent to getting their photos taken. And I know I feel like this video is all over the place, but this is how I would do it. I would literally get people to consent, and I'll get their information, I'll collect an email, and I collect a follow. So that was my goal. I wanted to at least have 20 followers on Instagram, which, I mean, 20, like, we can reach a 20. A lot of y'all be struggling and thinking that you can't reach 20, you can't reach a certain amount of followers. Like 20? Come on. Okay, let's have some high hopes. Anyway, so my goal was to get 20 followers on Instagram and 20 emails. Was it 20? Something like that. But, so yeah, that's the combination I have. If I meet somebody, I'll get their Instagram, and most likely people are going to ask you to follow your Instagram. That just goes hand in hand. If they end up saying yes, I was charging $25, and over time, in the last 3 weeks, I have increased my prices, and now we're currently at $50 a session right on the spot. And that, again, may seem like really low for you, and I understand, but it adds up. Everything adds up, because in the last month, we made, specifically, because it wasn't $900, specifically we made $888. from doing this. And listen, it really isn't about the money. It isn't about the money. This is experimentation. Be okay with experimenting. Be okay with being like, I just want to prove to myself that I'm that girl, that I'm that guy, that I can do anything I put my mind to, that anything that I do works and prospers. Everything that I do turns to gold. Everything. It could be something that I've never done before. But because the Lord is for me, who can be against me but myself? You're the only one who can be against you. So this experiment, it really wasn't about making the money. Like, give me the money. It was really about obedience. Because 2 years ago, I would have never imagined myself saying, oh, I'm making money from doing photography. Like, I would have never imagined that I would have said that. I would have never imagined that right now, currently, I wouldn't be making money off of my artwork. Like, what? I always thought that I would be making money just from my artwork. But then I didn't realize how phenomenal it is to be a master of many talents. I didn't realize that. And so now I almost feel like I started this video all stuck up and too, I don't know, uptight. Like, I should have just loosened up. You know how long it took me to get this camera going? To be like, I'm just going to come on camera and talk to the people about what the heck I did to make $900. It took me so long to record this video. I was like, okay, I'm going to do a Lego at the same time. I was like trying to do the most. And I was just like, I got to get the information out. The people need to hear that being an artist means that you are a creator. You can do anything. You can do anything that you want. There's nothing wrong. And some people may say, well, you're doing photography that has nothing to do with art. Or you're doing, you're selling cakes that got nothing to do with your artwork. You failed. Or you're utilizing yourself as an influencer. You're not even selling artwork. You're working with brands. You failed. No. You know why? Because anything that you do is an extension of what you already do. Like, everything that you do is an extension of yourself. It is XP points, which a lot of people don't have, okay? The people who are ever going to say that you failed at something, they don't have XP points. They ain't got it. They don't got it. So they're trying to make sure that you don't get it. Because for one, out of all of my paintings, because I paint portraits, it makes sense that every painting starts with a photo. And so for me in particular, I felt that it was necessary to get back to the fundamentals of painting. Getting your references by going out into the community and understanding what it means to have the ability to be involved with the entire process from the ideation stage and onward to the final piece. No longer going on Pinterest, looking up a random reference that you have no affiliation with. You don't even know that person. You don't know the background or the history. And so at the end of the day, the result is you have no connection to it. What's the point of it? What's the point of it? And so every photo, every painting starts with the photo for me in particular. So I had to go back to it. And maybe you're a landscape artist, huh? Maybe you're a landscape artist. And you don't even go outside. You won't even find, nobody will find you outside. People will ask, where'd you get this inspiration from? Pinterest. Like, why aren't you going outside and capturing your own photos out in the wilderness? Maybe you're an animal painter. Maybe you like to paint animals. But you don't even go interact with the animals at the zoo. What are you doing? Get outside. Get a camera. Get outside. Get your own reference photos. Maybe you like to paint food. And like I said, you ain't even baking for yourself. You don't even cook. But you like to cook. You obviously have a passion for cooking because you're painting it. I mean, we have to realize that what if you're in the season where God is asking you to let something go? And don't assume that he's taking something away, because I ain't never said in this video that you'll never catch me selling my artwork again. Because baby, when the time comes, I'm going to be ready. I'm going to be ready. I'm going to be ready. I know how to build the website from the ground up. We could do one from scratch. We can use the one that we already have. I don't mind doing it from scratch. I do not mind. But let's assume that he might be making room for something great in your life. That maybe he's preparing you for a season you can't even imagine yet. And if he's asked you to let go of your artwork, don't take that personal. Don't take that as punishment. Don't ever think that the Lord will take something away that he has given to you, put inside you. Because if he had not asked me to let go of painting, I would have never discovered the love for photography. I would have never really sat with myself and realized, wow, I have so many other skills, and being an artist doesn't necessarily have to be my entire identity, but I can reclaim myself as a creator, like the creator himself. Like, could you imagine if the Lord was like, oh, I only create animals? We would have no humans out here. Or I only create landscapes. We would have no animals. You know, you get the point. You get the point, right? But man, through photography, I have met incredible people. I have met trailblazers in the community. Now, like, let me be specific too. Because you are who you are, you're not going to meet average individuals. You are going to meet the people that you have been trying to find all along by yourself. You're going to meet them. They will meet you. They will find you. And you will never understand the favor upon your life if you stay resided in your four corners of your house, in your studio. You're never going to see the favor of the Lord. The way that you see the favor of the Lord is when you go outside and you see that you are a radiant sunshine beam, that no matter what, people are gazing upon you. Why? Because you have the favor of the Lord. You don't even got to say nothing, because everything that you do prospers. You are that tree by the river, that the fruit prospers in every season. It will not wither. So literally, I believe that what I'm doing is an honor and a privilege. It is an honor and a privilege to capture God's people in this way, in this dynamic. And I would have never documented the stories I have been trusted with had I not relinquished that control. Man, oh man, I had a grip. I had a grip on that success. So, what if the Lord is calling you to do the same thing? And because of that resistance, you are forfeiting the beauty of what God has beyond that. Don't limit it. Don't limit it, bro. You can be making money, so much money. And this is, mind you, this is just the beginning. I'm like, okay, what I'm doing right now is going up to the individuals and I'm meeting with them. I'm doing $50 sessions, but I have a camera and I'm becoming so much better and I'm enhancing my skills. We can get into event photography. We can get into commercial photography. We can get into all of the things. I'm just like, woo! This is exciting. It's exhilarating to do something new. Come on. You know what it feels like to be burnt out doing the same thing, painting the same thing, doing the same thing over again? Why put yourself in that predicament? Why? So, photography, all of the things, everything that I've ever done in my life, the side quests, has brought me to the individual that I am today. The woman that I am today. And sometimes obedience looks like loss before it looks like provision. You may go through a season of suffering, and famine and all of the things. But honestly, I can say that God has never stopped providing for me, no matter what. No matter what. And I just want you to understand that it's okay to shut it down. It's okay to start over. It's okay to reevaluate the season. And it's okay to admit that it may not be working in this season for you. That's okay. But I encourage you to sit down with yourself and write down a list of all of the things you've ever been complimented for. All of the things that you've witnessed about yourself. All of the skills that you've gained thus far. And go out into the world and figure out how you can serve your community. Because there are problems, many, many different problems, and you have an answer to their solution. Okay? So, if you have any specific questions about exactly how I was able to make $900 as an amateur artist with no experience and now as a professional artist, wait, I'm saying artist, goodness, a professional photographer. If you have any specific questions on how that process goes, if you want to join a community, because I'm considering building a community for artists. Oh, I keep saying artists. We are artists. I'm considering building a community for people like us who just want to be surrounded with people like us. So I need you to ask the questions below. I want you to ask any kind of question that comes to mind. How I got the camera? How am I having the confidence to walk up to people? How many rejections I've gotten? Do you really want to see what it looks like? Because I've tried to document it at the same time, and I have a hard time doing it because I be trying to stay so present, and maybe I need the meta glasses. Do you guys want to contribute to the donation towards that? Huh? Because if I had the meta glasses, I can really show you guys from the beginning to the end how this interaction looks like. Because it ain't just a, hey, can I take your photo? It isn't. At least not for me. Maybe for you. Maybe it'll work even better for you because I'd be having a whole elaborate conversation. And then next thing you know, I'm turning into a therapist. And next thing you know, it's like, bro, they done said no. But the crazy part about it is the people who have been saying no to me, I end up seeing them. They see me. We see each other at a whole entirely different location. And by that time, they say yes. And they say, I was thinking when I said no and when I went home, I was thinking, dang, why did I not say yes? Like, I'm telling you, the people that the Lord wants you to connect with, you're going to connect with them regardless. So if you want to understand what that looks like, ask a question below. If you want to know how I grew my Instagram, because I forgot to say that. Goodness, this video is all over the place, but I forgot to tell you that my goal for Instagram, like I said, was to have 20 followers. Let me tell you, by the end of June, I had 175 followers and 99, I'm gonna say 99% of those followers were from people that I have actually interacted with. So I met like was it 175? I guess it's 175. So 175 people that I met, they followed me, they wanted to follow me. So then my next goal was to have 20 email subscribers. Now I have yet to follow up with these people. Like, what am I gonna do with these emails? I'm not really sure. I'm not doing good at following up, but that's all right. We have 28 emails that I have direct access to. Like I said, I didn't mention that my goal was to make, or I did, or I'm not sure, but my goal was to make $1,000 from this. Your girl made $888. Although the title says 900, we can round that. We can round that. So then you may want to know how many yeses that I got. I didn't really do the best at like documenting the yeses, or actually the nos, but I got, I'm just going to say roughly 30 yeses. 30 yeses. And the no's, 102 plus. It had to be 102 plus because you're going to get a lot of rejection. And I think my next video needs to be about rejection therapy and how it's okay. Because in the last 2 years, I had gotten 0 no's because your girl wasn't doing anything. We got 100 and something plus no's. So this is the end of the video. It has taken me so long to create this freaking video. I should have just pulled out the camera and start talking directly to the camera the way that I'm doing. The outfit looks fly. I look fly. Y'all, I wanted to make this video 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, and I didn't do it because I was like, well, I want to build this. Look at it. This is what I wanted to do. I wanted to build. You get the analogy. You get the connection. You get the symbolism. I wanted to build this camera in person, on camera with you. But I was like, how? When, like, literally, when I'm building a Lego, I'd be like meticulous. I'd be like, okay, this is literally the instructions. I'd be like, okay, then no. All right, and then here's the Lego. I'm like, okay. And then, so like, how was I gonna have a conversation with you guys if I'm like, but if you want to see that video, maybe I can do it if you guys just ask me the questions. I can have the list of questions right here, and I'd be like, okay, bet. We're asking a question. I read the question. I can answer it while I'm doing the Lego. I don't know. All I know is that this is the type of thing that I want to get into. This is the type of thing that I want to get into. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know. Okay, this video is long enough. Anyways, you got the hint. You got the hint. What are you going to do? You're going to write down. You're going to write down what I told you to write down. If you don't remember what I told you to write down, go back. Go back some. Because I'm not going to edit too much of this video. Go back some and write what I told you to write down. If you want to join a community, you're going to tell me. You're going to tell me, hey, VeeArtise. Don't call me V. Also, don't call me V. Don't call me V. I'm VeeArtise. Okay, say it right. This is why I introduced myself in the very beginning of the video. You're going to tell me, hey, I need you to make that community. It's going to be a paid community because obviously your girl's going to teach you how to make money. It will be a paid community, straight up. But we will be together. We will be together, and that's what you're going to need. Because that's what I be needing. But I'm by myself. But I would love to have you join the community. Yeah, all right, cool. I hope this helps somebody. I hope it helped just one person. I don't care how many people watch this video. I don't even know how long the video is. But I hope that it helped at least one person. And I hope that one person asks a question. Okay? Because that lets me know that you engaged and that you vibed out with this type of video. Now, I'm gonna go. Okay? So, do your homework and you better do it. Okay? All right. Bye!